Tonight we are going a little bit rogue. We've never done anything like this before. We are just answering questions that are here in the chat. I have been recording chats over the last week or two. And frankly, I haven't had a chance to go through every single one yet. I plan to do that. Probably, I don't know, y'all. I've got a long list of things to do. So this is on the list. But I was going through one of the chats from last night, and some folks have been submitting questions via the form on the website. And so this is just our opportunity, our chance to come together and address some of those questions together. I want to set some expectations, and I guess you could say set some ground rules for tonight. One, I want to keep this to about 20 minutes. I have a 3 a.m. wake up tomorrow morning for a flight. So I definitely am aware of the timing. I will be reading through every single comment, but some of the comments sometimes are just completely not in alignment with the direction we're going for the show. And for that reason, I'll just skip over those. And so beyond that, there's so much freedom about what we're going to talk about tonight. I've got 4 different questions right out of the gate. They were posed yesterday. And actually, I am pulling up right now the forms that were submitted via the website, where folks have just been submitting some questions specifically for us to address on the Knowing Show. Some of them I think I might do a little bit more of a formal show around, because some of these questions are just so good. But for ones that are more quick that we can address now, we'll go ahead and do that. But to start us off, we are going to be diving into the first question that was posed yesterday night. This was by Drew Young. How do you address body acceptance issues? I am fit, muscular, but it is a topic. Not sure if you address this. So I wanted to start off with this topic tonight. We might circle back to it. Hopefully Drew will join later, but I wanted to make sure that we address this because I was actually thinking about this topic yesterday morning. And then when Drew put that in the chat yesterday, it just made me think, okay, I think that this is something that we need to talk about. So I want to bring this up because frankly, the body shaming piece of things is something that, it's talked about, but in a way that I haven't seen it talked about in a really healthy way. And of course, then becomes the question of what is healthy and how do you define healthy? Because for that person, or for the group of folks who are talking about it and very loud about body acceptance, it could be healthy for them. So I can't say that it's not healthy for them. But for me, when I hear a lot of folks talking about body acceptance, and frankly, I got to tell you, the word acceptance is a word that I've actually struggled with, because there's something about just the concept of acceptance, which is like throwing up my hands and quitting at life. And I really don't like that. But then the other extreme of it is that we're constantly chasing perfection. And so I err more on that side of, man, I want to be excellent. I want every moment in my life to be intentionally spent. I don't want to waste a moment here on earth. And so I could probably use a little bit of this other side of things, where perhaps there is an element of throwing up the hands and accepting things. So I want to start off with that. But when it comes to what is a healthy definition of body acceptance and how we view our body, I'd actually love to hear in the chat. I'm just seeing some folks joining here. Savion, so good to see you. Thank you. That's funny. Thanks for joining. Marcoan, man, you got a long handle, but I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to hear from y'all. How do you actually define a healthy view of our physical body? Because y'all, I grew up in a very Christian conservative church. And the reason why I was thinking about this yesterday, and then to see Drew Young ask this question in the chat the other night, I was like, okay, we have to talk about this. My former pastor of the church that I was raised in, he wrote a book called I Kissed Dating Goodbye. and it was all about not dating. It was all about he called it the purity culture. And so that kind of blew up in Christian conservative churches and movements. And it was very strict, there was a lot of dogma in how people applied it. And y'all, this is just a quick sidebar. There's something really scary around taking a principle, which is good and has, perhaps you could even say, good intent, well-meaning, but then misapplying the practice of a good principle. And when we misapply it in and through practice, something that has original good intent in terms of the principle itself, we tend to throw out the principle along with the malpractice. And so this is such an important opportunity to consider what was the integrity of the principle that this man was bringing about. Like, even y'all, this goes along with today's A Course in Miracles. What is it? I am in the mind of God. I am holy. Like, if we actually believe that we were made in the image of God and that we are precious beings and that we are priceless, then okay, then how should we engage sexually and physically? How should I eat? How should I dress? How should and there's something around this word should. How should I, that I actually really became attached to as a child. And I looked at everything through the lens of should. But when we allow for love to be the powering force that we're making decisions with, where it's, I love that I'm made in the image of God. I love God. I love my body. I love me. And so therefore I'm going to honor me. And I'm going to make these choices powered in love rather than powered in fear. And so when it comes to this question of positive body acceptance, so this was the official question that was asked last night. How do you address body acceptance issues? I am fit, muscular, but find it a topic. And so the question for me is, are we looking at our bodies rooted in a place of love, or are we looking at our bodies rooted in a place of fear? Are we looking at everybody else and then looking at ourselves? Are we comparing? Are we judging? Are we shaming? And so all of those aspects are really, truly rooted in fear. It's going to be nearly impossible for us to have a healthy relationship with our physical appearance and with our physical bodies if it's rooted in fear. If fundamentally the lens through which we're looking at the world is one of fear versus one of love. And I was even talking with someone about this the other day. They were like, oh, I'm so fat right now. And I looked at myself in the mirror tonight and I was like, oh, I'm such a mess. And I caught myself and I was like, man, I don't want to have that narrative. Even saying it out loud teaches my body something. It's subconsciously, I am teaching with every word that comes out of my mouth, what and how other people should treat me and how and what I believe about myself. Every word has power. Every thought has power. We're talking about that in A Course in Miracles every single morning. And so if I'm not putting a guard over my mouth and watching over every single thought, it's going to permeate my entire being. My 4-year-old niece at the time, she was brushing her long, blonde, beautiful hair. She looks in the mirror and she's like, I'm having such a bad hair day. And it was so cute and so funny and such a reminder that these little people, they're taught how to view themselves. Y'all, we were taught everything negative about ourselves, we were taught to think. And so this question of how can we be powered from a place of love rather than powered by a place of fear? I'm just looking here in the chat. Oh, Sender V, I'm so glad to see you. Some guy, I'm so glad you're here. Alex, all good. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you for joining. I grew up in a more conservative church. Me too. Oh, Mount Zion School of Ministry, Granville, PA. I'm curious, some guy, do you know Global Awakening? Tell me if you do. Lovingly, I think that you're talking, Alex, there, lovingly looking at ourselves. Daniel says, it is impossible to really define body acceptance. It will always be different for different people. I really agree. And I think that the root of the question is, what is the lens? Is it fear or love? Because to your point, I think it's going to depend per person. And for someone like me who errs on the side of perfection, rest may be something that I maybe need to cultivate more, but then for people who are lazy, maybe they need to cultivate more excellence and discipline in their life. So it is like, what do you need individually? And also, what was your upbringing? There's something around that too, where based on how we were raised, based on the inherited belief system that we have, we need to look at, for us to answer this question, we have to go to the past. We have to analyze, how does the past show up today in the present? Christopher Adams, howdy, listening to you live from my home in Maine. Where in Maine do you live? I love Maine so much. There are so many little Hallmark towns. I was in Prince Edward Island last summer, and I drove down US 1, and I was just blown away. I felt like all these little Hallmark towns. It was so much fun. J Flux, good to see you. Thank you. I did look messy tonight. I had to redo my bun. Alex, because that's all she sees. It's true. It is true. If we're deciding that we're going to look at the world through a certain lens, that's what we're going to see. Jeff Herbert, thank you so much. I'm so glad that this is refreshing. Knowing what your body can and can't be. Y'all, it's so interesting. I circle back on this. So I find myself both on the show and just in general. What do I want? How do I want to show up? How do I want to even physically look? Y'all, I realized less than 12 months ago, I realized I had never asked myself that question. How do I actually want to look? I had been literally thinking about my physical body compared to, like, through the lens of what society tells me I should look like. And y'all, that's such a trap. And I'm not just talking about it from a female perspective. Y'all, the person who asked this question yesterday was a man. He says, I'm just going to repeat it for those of you who just joined. How do you address body acceptance issues? I'm fit and muscular, but find it to be a topic. It passes beyond gender. And so this question of, can I actually look at my body and really, really love this physical vessel? And I actually like that word vessel. This physical body that you're in, that I'm in, is a vehicle. It's a beautiful, wonderful vehicle that we're in to accomplish the very reason why we're here on earth to begin with, to experience life. And are we tending to our body in the way that allows for us to engage with life to the utmost possible experience we could have? It really is so cool when people talk about we're in a simulation, and I don't know about that. But I do think of the allegory, the analogy of, okay, if I was in a video game, let's say, and I want to get to the next level, every year I want to level up. Every year I want to level up. Well, who do I need to be mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually to get to that next level? And there are different seasons where we need to tend to different parts of us. In 2022, I really had to tend to my emotional health. Man, I was so emotionally obliterated, and I really needed to heal. And then 2024, I actually felt like that was the year where it was time to really kind of heal my physical body. My physical body had experienced some real pain that I didn't even know about because I had so much disconnection and disassociation from my body. It was like I wasn't actually occupying my body. I didn't really even know what my hands looked like. And my mom had this experience where she looked in the mirror for really kind of the first time in her life. And she was like, I saw my eyes. And she was like, I didn't know I had green in them. And she was crying, telling me this story. And she's 59? I think she was 58 when this happened. And y'all, what an incredibly beautiful thing. We're never too old to get to know our physical body. So in order for us to accept our body, we actually have to know our body. And coming to know our body is perhaps even as simple as literally looking in the mirror. If you guys have never done this, this is talk about vulnerable, and this is just for you, not for anybody else. Set your timer and go to a full-length mirror, unclothed, and just set your timer for 5 minutes, and you're not allowed to look away. I've done that twice. And it was incredibly vulnerable. And I sat there crying too, just like my mom did, because especially if you grew up in a really kind of shame environment, whether it was religious or not. If you were, I know a lot of folks who were sexually and physically handled and mistreated as children and young adults, and even in a marriage, like it doesn't have to just be this religious kind of mental or an emotional and abuse. And mental and emotional is really true around our bodies. Like we don't even have to have something done to us for there to be some deep-seated little t traumas or big T traumas. Um, yes, Alex, what traumas are being hidden? That is so good. And y'all, it really, in terms of coming to realize what traumas are hidden, so much of it is actually experiencing. So going and experiencing, looking in the mirror and experiencing the truth of kind of what's going on, what's been hidden. Brian, I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you. Christopher Adams, Socrates once said, "It'd be a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of what he is capable of." Wow. That's a statement I try to live by. Same. Wow. Y'all, I'm going to read that one more time. Socrates once said, "It'd be a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of what he is capable of." Mm. I just, I think that we've done ourselves a real disservice as a society by assigning different words, different concepts, different actions and experiences as masculine and feminine. I think it's actually done us probably more of a disservice than we realize. Emotions, feminine, logic, masculine, and just frankly, it's been really unhealthy because I, as a woman, actually hated emotion so that I could be more masculine and really like love data. And it was so I did the opposite of what a lot of women do because I saw the shame over women with emotions. And then men on the other side, and this is from what I've heard at men attending knowing retreats with me, is that there has just been a block to emotions. Like one man said that his mom said, if he was probably 6 or 7, um, "You better stop crying or else I'm going to give you something to cry about." And she was just really shaming him for emoting. And so now men have just like this ivory tower view of who they're supposed to be, which is strong and poised, and I never show emotion and I'm fine always. And it's almost like akin to the archetype of the hero. The hero and the king and these misunderstandings, these skewed archetypes, which are almost enshrouded with these narratives that are so gender oriented rather than, y'all, I've been thinking about the archetype of the Spartan, the warrior, and the lover, the Athenian. We're supposed to be both. We're supposed to be both parts, both logic, both emotion, and all of it, everything in between. And that is truly living. Like I love how Socrates says, "It would be a shame for man to grow old without seeing both the beauty and the strength." Both. The Spartan and the Athenian, the warrior, the lover, the logic and the emotion. It's about becoming a holistic human. And that's why we're here. That's why we come on every night and have these conversations. Um, mm. Brian says, "What is the simplest truth you can express in words?" Oh, man. What a question. This keeps coming to mind, so I'm just going to go with it. The simplest truth that I can express in words is that you're loved. You are loved. And I really, really believe that. Like at the deepest part of me, you are loved and you are so here for a reason. You're so needed just because you're here, you're you. Even apart from doing, you are loved. Like you just done. And then on the other side of that, it's like, and you're here for a reason. And even if you never acted upon that, you're still really, really loved. So that would be my answer. And frankly, I'd love to hear from you all in the chat, what's a simple what a beautiful question, Brian. I've never been asked something like that. It's so profound. Um, mm, we I don't actually know what that character is, but it kind of looks like a bee. We bee. Shakespeare tried to express this definition of love. Please, I would love to see actually what he said and what he used. Y'all, you know what I'm having so much fun. All of y'all are so well read. And I'm like, I'm not. I thought I was. Not really. So I've got my work cut out for me, and I feel like you guys are just making this such a good conversation. So thank you. Happy P123. I am single. What am I doing? um, hopefully you're preparing yourself and living fully, and I actually, when I say preparing myself, I'm thinking of what Jordan Peterson said, where he said, if you effectively want to marry this person, are you becoming the person worthy of that individual? So when I say preparing, that's what I mean. Weeby says the German letter. Oh, oh, cool. I love that. Known as Esset. Oh man, I know that I'm gonna butcher this. I actually, so Marie, Christene Marie, Marie is legally my last name. It's on my passport, but my maiden name, and it's not Marie is not my married name. It's kind of a little bit of a story, but my maiden name is Hoffman, and it's very German. So I need to actually, I spoke in Berlin, but I didn't really get to tour Germany. Like I didn't do Germany, so I need to go back and do that. But anyways, Alex says, love is the message. That's what everyone is trying to enact. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Happy P, thank you. Oh, I'm getting a FaceTime WhatsApp message from my darling. I can't answer it right now. I'm gonna tell him I'm on my live. I'm on the show. All right, y'all. I've got another question that I had written down, but if you all have anything that you guys want to ask, please do. Let me go back to my question list. All right. Oh, Lendl Jr. Lendl Jr., are you here? I don't think I saw you. Oh, Brian says that's my grandfather's last name, Hoffman. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. We're probably related. My mom will randomly jump on here and her like every time I see her, everyone calls her Mama Hoffman. So the next time she comes on here, Brian, I'll tell her that Mom, it's our long lost cousin. All right, Lendl Jr. I don't think he's on right now, but I am going to answer the question he posed last night. Oh, he posed a hard one. He said, every day the country grows further and further apart due to politics. What do we do? And y'all, I did not like this question because I frankly, I probably need to stay more in touch with politics. That's been something I've been saying for a couple of years. It doesn't, so this is where I actually think it's so important that we know what we're called to. I actually really believe people are called to different industries, different verticals, different, like, thank God for teachers. Thank God for nurses. Thank God for doctors. Thank God for policemen. Thank God for bankers. You know what I mean? Like, we need these, thank God for trashmen. We need people to keep society functioning. And yes, we get the opportunity to vote people into power. And not just we're called to an occupation, but I also think that we're called to how do I want to say, it's not battle. I think we're called to a mission. I think each one of us has a mission. We're here to do something. And I and I'm speaking for myself right now. So, Lendl Jr., if you join, this is an answer to your question. For me, I have just felt so called very specifically to my mission, which feels so big to me. It feels so much bigger than I can ever do by myself. And I feel like I've got my hands full. And I actually think that that's really important that each one of us knows how and where to spend our time and where and how to spend our thoughts and energy because we've got many different options of where we can expend our time. And I think just like honestly, who said this? It was such a wise statement. We were talking about the body acceptance piece. Daniel says this, it is impossible to really define body acceptance. It will always be different for different people. I think the same goes here too, because I just feel like if I've got a mission and you've got a mission and they're accomplishing very different things. Maybe yours is literally to address the foster care system in the US, like really getting these kids in loving homes, and mine is to bring emotional health and healing. And that's what we're like, those are and maybe they do overlap, and frankly, I actually would love to, like, open a school. In one sense, like, if I cross over into your lane, it's gonna be really hard for me to do my mission. And so, again, with this whole question, and this is where it's like, this I stay away from it because it makes me nervous, and at the same time, I know that there's a responsibility, because I'm a citizen of the country. So and I will say, I think that some people are actually really called to take a stand and move in accordance with what they believe in and fight the good fight, whatever that looks like for how they feel led. This is what is concerning to me is that I think that there's more and more existing in our own echo chambers rather than actually being led from within, rather than actually having intuition, intuary, which means to be taught from within, activated and alive so that we can be truly led from within rather than being reactive. So I think there is so much more reactivity in what's being done, both at the top and in response to the actions, rather than being proactive in accordance with real intuition and really being led. And so that's a core principle of mine is how do I feel led? How would literally God encourage me and lead me to move? So it goes back to love at the end of the day in terms of the country being separated. If we're not able to even have a conversation with somebody who has a different viewpoint from us, I think that's a problem, and that's our responsibility. Am I living according to my own definition of what success and a healthy nation looks like? Am I living according to that? Because I can't control anybody else, unfortunately. I can vote, and maybe there's a time to take a radical action, but man, I better be living so in alignment with my own standards for how I expect and hope other citizens act. So that's what I would say, and I'm sure that there's so much more dimension to it, but frankly, it's such a broad topic and such a broad question that it's hard to get specific about it. Um, Christopher Adams, you said, I would attribute a small truth to Walt Whitman's poem, "O Me, O Life. Life is in conjunction to a play. We are here in reality and identity. So what shall our contributing verse be?" Ah, that's so beautiful. I love that. I'm gonna look this up. Oh me, oh life. That's so beautiful. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna try to do something. Hold on. Give me a moment. All right. I've never done this before. This is fun. I think I've done it one other time. I'm actually gonna share this. I wonder if you guys will be able to see or if it's just like way too tiny. O me, O life, of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, of myself forever reproaching myself, for who more foolish than I, and who more faithless, of eyes that vainly crave the light, of the objects mean, of the struggle ever renewed, of the poor results of all, of the plotting and sordid crowds I see around me, of the empty and useless years of the rest, with the rest me intertwined. The question, O me, so sad recurring, what good amid these, O me, O life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists, an identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you will contribute a verse. That is so stunning. Oh, my Lanta. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is so beautiful. Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I love that. That's such a good poem. J Flex. I'm the luckiest girl. Thank you. Christopher Adams. I don't think so, but I did meet Dustin Hoffman's son-in-law a couple, I guess like 3 years ago at the Bitcoin Miami conference. So random. um, pay a teacher if my head is strong. Pay a coach if I catch a ball. Interesting. I like the way you put that. Plans for Valentine's Day. I don't know. I don't know. I actually had thought about taking someone to like they are alone in the world, and so I had thought about taking them to like go get our nails done or something, and then I think I may go out to dinner with a couple friends, but I don't know. We'll see. What are you doing? What are you guys all doing for Valentine's Day? What a fun question. Um, Tell me what you guys are going to do. And then I need to jump off because I need to go live on Foundation First Marketing. And then I need to pack up. And then I have a 3 a.m. 3 a.m. wake up because then I have to get to the airport. And then I've got a 5 a.m. flight. Y'all, do any of y'all fly Southwest? Because tomorrow is my very first flight Southwest where I have an assigned seat. I don't know how I feel about that. So tell me, tell me what you think. And if you've flown Southwest, what happened and what your experience was. And to you guys filling that out, yeah, tell me what you guys are doing for Valentine's Day, and tell me what you guys are doing for if you guys have ever flown Southwest. Also, I have a question that was asked. Brian, I think I wanted to do an actual show around this one. How does one know if they are on the right path, their true calling? What do you think, Brian? Will you be available? I don't think I have any guests tomorrow. Let me just do a quick check because I'd like to actually do a actual show dedicated to that. Let me see if I have a guest tomorrow. I have a guest on the Craft and Calling, but no one on the Knowing Show. Let me do that. Let's talk about that tomorrow night. How does that sound? Oh, Detroit, Ziggy, good evening. I'm glad you're here. We're just hanging out, Detroit, honestly. There's just a couple of us hanging out and we're having a good time. We've talked about a whole slew of things. Alignment. Alex. I love alignment. Y'all, by the way, I think I've told some of you guys this. Verticalalignment.com. If you guys want 21 days, that was like my Christmas gift that I created last year for my birthday. I created 21 days of vertical alignments, which is like my morning ritual and practice of bringing my soul, spirit, and my body like into alignment. And there's a daily prompt with a question and just encouragement on how to kind of move through the rest of the day. So if you guys want to do that, it's totally free. It's on verticalalignment.com. Let me go ahead and I'll drop the link here. And frankly, I would love to, I know Tommy Schaefer was on last night and he said he's doing it. I would love to hear your feedback. Brian says tomorrow is good. Sweet. Let's go ahead and talk about that question. So tomorrow night, y'all, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be talking about this question. How does one know if they are on the right path? So we'll be talking about that. I've got to get into that. I never had vertical alignment. I got to tell you, Alex, this process of getting vertically aligned on a daily basis has really, really impacted me and really changed my life. It's like I know when I haven't done it that day, I just struggle more. You know, it's like it really is a morning practice that really grounds me and centers me and just aligns me. It's like, oh yeah, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to show up. This is who God says I am. This is what's true. Going to process what happened yesterday that I'm bringing into today. And then I can move forward in freedom so that I can move through today fine. Jay Flux says, Southwest is fine. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. Detroit, does Marie have anything to do with Italian? I wish I would be Italian if I could choose who I would be. I'm not Italian, but I just love Italy so much. Y'all, I need to hop off. I'm going to go live on Foundation First. If you all want to join me over there, that is, it's a brand new YouTube channel that I'm starting and just talking about business stuff because I end up, oh, I froze. I always end up talking more so about emotional intelligence here because I just love it so much. But I'm starting to go live every day on Foundation First just to get that going and hopefully get my company more business. So we'll see. But if you want to join me over there. But otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. No, okay, tomorrow morning. Since I'll be flying, I'm going to go live for A Course in Miracles probably at like 4:20 a.m. tomorrow morning, Mountain. So it'll be 6:20 a.m. And do the your fourth generation. Viva l'Italia. Oh, okay. Well, we need to talk about that, Christopher, tomorrow. Y'all come on tomorrow. You can see me at 6:20 and I'll see you at 4:20 my time. I've got to go live before I fly out for A Course in Miracles. But otherwise, I'll be on tomorrow evening for talking about how do we know? How do we know? How do we know? I'm just playing with the question on my end. How does one know if they are on the right path, their true calling? So we'll be talking about that. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night. Ciao. I'll see y'all tomorrow.